Marshall Pope joins us this morning, and Marshall just finished up his sixth book, Teardrops of Inspiration, A Cry for Compassion. And Marshall, good morning to you.
Good morning to you.
Good to have you with us today, and let's talk about your latest writing.
Okay, Teardrops of Inspiration, A Cry for Compassion. It's a poetry book, and it deals with anything from being homeless, being poor, being bullied. It deals with all kinds of struggles in your life. And it's a...
What inspired you to write the writings like this?
Well, I started off as a rapper, but I was more of a poet. And my pursuing a rap career took me to Atlanta, Georgia, where I signed with a small independent label. And this label convinced me that in order to be the best rapper, you had to be more street and have more street cred. And so that led me down a dark path, and I ended up trying to take my life at one point. And just so happens that the gun that I tried to use was on safety. And I never had a gun on safety, but it was on safety. So I took that as a sign from God that it wasn't my time, that He had more for me. And He raised me up, dusted me off, and made me an inspiration to the world, and He gave me these words that I'm putting inside these books.
Were you a skilled writer of poetry, or think about poetry and stuff like that before this?
I was. I used to write down my feelings. That was just my way of talking to God. I used to just write down emotions that I was feeling, things that I may have been going through. I would just jot it down, and that was my way of releasing my pain.
Joining us this morning is Marshall Pope, Teardrops of Inspiration, A Cry for Compassion. And this is a book of poetry, and this is the sixth book that he has written. Any particular ones that stand out in your mind about this particular book?
Yeah, it does. I got a poem called I Could Have Easily Been You. As I watch your soul slowly melt from the sudden burning in your veins, I can't help but think your pain could have easily been my pain. I could have been the one at the doctor's office receiving bad news from the nurse. It could have easily been cancer cells in my blood causing my body to ache and hurt. As I watch you lose against the enemy in a battle of no mercy and no rules, I can't help but whisper silently, I could have easily been you. As I watch you lower your head into your hands from overdue bills and debts, the only thing that left you with was the naked truth when the bill collectors came to collect. The cost of living is too high and the price of life is too much. How can I convince you it's not worth taking your life when the world had convinced you it's enough? As you raced against time for answers till the clock runs out of time, I could have easily been you on the phone the operator tried to save from the suicidal hotline. You chose to follow God, and I chose a whole different path. It was funny to hear you praying, so I took the devil's advice and just laughed. Give unto the Lord, and He will bless you back tenfold. So while you surrendered your spirit for free, I instead sold my soul. As I walked through hell with Satan, to heaven to be with Jesus you flew. But you could have easily been me, and I could have easily been you.
Wow. Author, poet Marshall Pope joins us this morning. And when you start writing words down like this, does it just flow then?
It just flow. Every poem I ever wrote, I always ask God to guide my hand. That's the reason I always say that He's the author and I'm the writer. And it just comes to me.
So how can people get your latest book or books of poetry before this one?
Amazon.com. Just go to Amazon.com, put in my name, and all six of my books will come up. And this book, particularly right here, is $12, and it's a real good book.
What would you say to people young or not so young that, kind of in their mind they think, well, I'd like to do that. How would you encourage them to get started?
First thing I would encourage them to do is stay in school, and never let nobody tell you that you cannot accomplish your dream. Because as long as you got God in your heart, you can always do every and all things. That's what I would tell the youth or anybody else who want to pursue any kind of dream.
Now, when you were younger, you faced issues.
Right.
Kids facing issues today, and sometimes good kids make wrong choices that can cost them.
Right. The issues I face and the issues that I talk about now, and a lot of poetry that I write, it deals with bullying, because in school nowadays, that's the main issue, that kids are being bullied. And so I try to touch on those subjects, and I try to have an open door, open window for them to see that I also went through that, and I also found my way out of that.
Author poet Marshall Pope joins us more. Once you got started with these writings, how long did it take you to complete it?
It don't take me nothing but about a month.
Really?
Yes. Yes.
So the different poems just come to you, and the poetry just
it just comes to me and just flow. It's just a gift from God.
Wow. I'm sure that you would like to get in front of more people. Is there a number or email address or website they can go to?
Yes. Recently here, I've been going around the churches, and I've been speaking to the youth there. So if you have an event that you want me to come speak at, you can reach me at 256-493-7804, or you can go on my Facebook page and just send me a message. Marshall Pope, author poet Marshall Pope, and that's my Facebook name.
Author poet Marshall Pope, Teardrops of Inspiration, A Cry for Compassion. Again, this book and others available through Amazon?
Amazon.com, and I encourage everybody to please buy my book, because all my proceeds is going to feed the homeless. I'm starting a mission this year where I'm going around to different cities, and I'm going to be providing clothing and food to the homeless.
All right. Marshall Pope, author poet, joins us this morning. Marshall, always good to see you. And I'm sure with this book of poetry complete, there are others out there as well.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you for being with us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Author poet Marshall Pope joins us this morning on Daybreak. We've got